Still standing by, waiting to get underway here. It appears that Hurricane Chris has had an issue with power, and now Tactical Fallout is jumping into the series. Well, jumping into this first race. He is not. No, he's not going to be running a truck. Do not worry. This is a much more respected series than that. This isn't a lottery series. So last season, there was a significant rash of yellow flags caused by... Come the heck. Boy. Alright, give me a sec. I'll see if I can show him an invite if my Xbox works. Tactile seems to have lagged out for some reason. Alright, here we are. He's jumping back in now. Okay. Anyways. So last season, Bathurst ended up having a large slew of yellow flags, primarily after restarts, and it's going to be interesting to see if the same thing happens here. We also had a larger field when we first went to Bathurst last season. We don't expect it's going to be the same thing here. Alright, Hurricane Chris is returning. So it looks like we're going to have a slightly larger field than anticipated. I'm looking at... How many drivers are we looking at today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're looking at 12 drivers. There we are. Alright, Tactical Fallout's loaded up in the Chevy ZR1. And we're anticipating Hurricane Chris to jump in, and once he's in, we anticipate that will be underway. Also, just heads up, keep an eye out on turn 2, because apparently throughout the practice sessions that have been run today, turn 2 has been extremely slick, a lot slicker than a lot of drivers have been saying it was under normal practice conditions. So we're not sure if that's going to hold through the actual race itself. But that, coupled with random spouts of looseness going up and downhill, almost like a snap loose on the initial ascent and descent here at the mountain, could make for an interesting race. This is probably going to be more of a whoever has the best car setup ends up dominating this. The race is just long enough to where everyone's going to have to pit once, but it's not anticipated that you'll need to pit twice at all throughout this. So. Alright, we're about to go underway. Yes, we are about to go underway. Thank God. So, Coco Gamer, he's only on the pole because he's going to be a pace car. Foxy Gaming and AMS Chum are going to share front row. Lou Crispy and Yunvon, row 2. Casbelli and TRC Jacob, row 3. Ferrari Boss and Dow Prime, row 4. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Allergies. I think it's allergies. Anyways, and we also have Rock Morrow, who is going to be running with... One second. We have Rock Morrow, who's going to be sharing the row with UI Scutian here. And then Tactical Fallout will be ran out. Wait, are we short someone? Someone lag out? Okay, I may have just miscounted. So this is going to be a standing start, but everyone's getting a chance to run around the circuit real quickly and warm up their tires. It must be said, keep an eye on AMS Chum, because this is the first time that we're having a all-wheel drive Lamborghini show up in the series. And considering this is going to be a standing start, if he gets it right, he may be able to run away from Foxy and the rest of the field and end up stepping out to an early lead. Also, the 4 GTs have apparently been very, very fast up until today, where it seems like either changing in track conditions or maybe an alteration in the setups have sort of hampered their speed just a little bit. The Mercedes-Benz machines have also been extremely potent throughout the series. And then, as we've always said, the Chevys are very well-rounded all around. Bathurst is a decent, not amazing, but a decent track for them. Chevy is what Coco Gamer ran last season here, back when this was the season opening points paying race, and in that he did win with the Chevys, so that is worth noting. You can see just trying to run side by side under pace speed downhill is really, really tense. But as you're coming around, they're going to come onto the final straightaway here. Coco Gamer is going to start punching onto the throttle shortly, it's anticipated, to try and get away from the field. Everyone should have their tires all nice and warmed up now. In fact, we're going to go ahead and bring up the... Yeah, here we are. So yeah, it seems like almost everyone, if not everyone outright, does have their tires warmed up at this point, as we're looking at second place starter Foxy Gaming. Then we look at some. Actually, what I really want to take a look at, and this will be a big thing we're going to be trying to focus throughout this event, will be fuel. So we can look at Foxy's and Chum's fuel. Can we look at Ludicrous Speed's fuel? Yes. So we can see his fuel. Jacobs. Alright, so it looks like we'll be able to at least follow the fuel battle. Last season, there were some situations where we had troubles trying to figure out where everyone was on fuel and tires throughout the events, so we're hoping that's been somewhat alleviated by various updates that Forza has implemented since last season. Coco Gamer is going to pull off the circuit completely. So on this start, we're going to focus on AMS Chum. Now, he is starting on the outside lane, so it's going to be very interesting to see if he has enough of a jump that he'll be able to clear everyone else. "11 drivers will be taking the green flag here in the first preseason race here at the mountain in the land down under. Ooh, Chum jumped it just a bit. Alright, he's pulling back. And we're underway, and Chum, even though he got onto the throttle a little bit later than everyone else, he has enough of a jump with that all-wheel drive that he's going to end up going side by side with Foxy Gaming, actually. Going around the first corner, he's got the traction, he's going to move into the top spot ahead of Foxy Gaming. Third place is going to go to Yun Vaughn, and Yun is already returning to the positions he was very familiar with, top running early on. It's going to be interesting to see if he can hold on. He does have Ludicrous Speed and GTRC Jacob he's fighting. In fact, Jacob's going to come up to the inside. He's going to overtake the defending champion and last year's Yaz Marino. When, no, he's not, because now it's going to be a bit of a fight back from Yun Vaughn. Doesn't matter. Jacob is going to move up into fourth. Yep, so Yun Vaughn actually is held on, and Ludicrous Speed got held up just a bit farther back there. He's going to fall all the way back to sixth now as his teammate, Ferrari Boss, who has moved up into the fifth position as they're uphill now. They're at pretty much the very, very top of the circuit. Ferrari Boss bounces off the wall, and he's going to end up going side by side, and who is that? Who went out? JTRC Jacob has slid off the circuit at the very top of the mountain. He's back on now, but he's dropped all the way back to seventh at the moment as we go heading down here. Cazabelli in 8th, you can see how loose that machine is. Jacob's trying to fight with Tactical Fallout. Chevy versus Chevy here as they round that final of those really tight corners. Now it's going to be all about speed. Neck and neck. Someone may have lagged out. I hope not. Tactical Fallout still has the nose ahead of Jacob for the moment. This is the battle for sixth. And you can see that even with that horsepower advantage that the Ford GTs get for the series, it's still, they are a bit underpowered compared to most of the other vehicles. So you see that both Tactical and Jacob were able to close in on Ludicrous for 5th. Kazubeli actually seems to have a little bit of stuff figured out when it comes to circling around the very back. Can't figure out who lagged out. It says someone lagged out. I can't figure out who it was. Meanwhile, looking back towards the front, we have a battle for a lead going on right now. Foxy Gaming and AMS Chum side by side through turn 2, heading into turn 3 now. Foxy Gaming has the position of choice. They're neck and neck. Foxy's going to hold the inside line tight. Chum is going to be on the outside now as they head up through the mountain here on our second race lap. Third lap if you want to count pace lap, but second race lap here. Foxy's going to try and make that the widest Mercedes-Benz in Australia right now. Oh, and Foxy, that vehicle stepped out. He made a little bit of a kiss with the outside wall there. It doesn't look like it's enough to really upset it. Chum's dropped off just a tad. And now as they head back down the hill, Chum closes right in on Foxy almost every time they come out of a corner. And even, now here we go. Chum taps the outside wall just a tad there, coming out of that corner onto the straightaway now. Chum, he's behind Foxy. Does he have what it takes to possibly make a run? Following Chum as they go down through that chicane there. Now the first and last corners here at Bathurst are hard 90-degree corners. They're not optimal for overtaking, but if you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of time up through there. Foxy, he's cut the grass just a bit. It caused the rear end to step out. Chum has closed right back up to Foxy's rear bumper, and now they come around turn 1 here. Foxy a little bit wide. Chum took a lot straighter line. He's right there. Chum is right on Foxy's rear bumper as they go up the hill now. Now as we get into the higher gears, Foxy seems to pull up just a little bit. So Foxy has more straight line speed at the end of a straight line, but Chum has a lot quicker acceleration. And you can see the two of them are beginning to gap Yunvan, who's running in the 3rd position right now. Foxy continuing to make that the widest Mercedes-Benz in Australia. There aren't a whole lot of overtaking opportunities here up on the mountain, and both Chum and Foxy actually slide wide, get into the wall just a bit. Oh, it looks like Chum, it looks like the machine stepped out just a bit. Now going through here, this is where Chum closed in a lot of it earlier. Chum's not quite as close to Foxy this time around as he was before. The gap's a little bit larger. We're going to look a little bit farther back in the field now. So now the battle for 6 is definitely settled, with Tactical firmly rooting himself in the 6th position. In fact, Jacob has now slid to 8th behind Kazubeli. In fact, we're going to watch him here. Belly clips the grass just a little bit. Oh, and we see Tactical got loose there, and now 7th and 8th are actually going to close up on Tactical just a little bit. Got to take another real quick look at the leaders, seeing if Chum has been able to close in. Now, it seems like Foxy's actually opening the gap on Chum just a little bit. Right now, Foxy has the fastest lap of the race with a 2:03.137. Chum ran about 7/10 back behind him. Then you have, in 3rd place, Yunvan 101 took advantage of a solid starting spot, moved up into third, but he has 4 GTs of Ferrari Boss and Ludicrous Speed just a little bit behind him. In fact, we're watching from Ludicrous Speed as Ferrari Boss stalks Yunvan. And these 4 GTs, they're very flat, they're very fast through the corners, don't have a whole lot of straightaway speed. So Rod, and we see Ludicrous bangs off the wall just a bit. He did not like Bathurst last season, and I don't think he likes it very much this season either. Seems like he's actually dropped off just a little bit. Actually, Yunvan has been overtaken. Yes, Ferrari Boss actually was able to get by Yunvan while we were focusing on Ludicrous there, but Keyshawn, that's Yunvan's actual name, Keyshawn is right there on Ferrari Boss's, Raj is his real name, ass as they come onto the straightaway here. So this is going to be interesting. Riding on board with Yunvan, he has more horsepower, more speed. Is it going to be enough for him to make a move on Raj? He's there, he's alongside. He did it, he completed the pass on Ferrari Boss, but under braking, he makes a dive, and it doesn't matter because it looks like Yunvan is going to be able to hold on to that third position. So we do know now that that Chevy GT has enough speed to get by the 4 GT going through the straightaway, but the 4 GT seems to have so much cornering ability that it might not matter if you can mount a solid defense. So we see Ludicrous Speed now overtakes Raj there, coming out of turn 1 here on lap 5. We're going to go drop back a little bit in the field, and we're going to focus again on this battle for 7th and 8th. So it looks like Jacob has gotten back in front of Casubelli here. And as they're heading back up the mountain, you can see Jacob struggling with the car that doesn't seem to have a whole lot of grip going through turns 3 and 4. Jacob had a decent starting position, but he's just kind of fallen through the field on those first 2 laps. And now that he's stuck on about 7, it's going to be hard for him to make ground up. Oh, you can see that BMW gain really sideways as they initially start going down the hill. It seems like that vehicle is a little bit too neutral and responds too well to any feedback. Onto the straightaway now. Now we're going to look back between 4th and 5th. So Ludicrous Speed is still ahead of his teammate here. Now you can see Raj likes to make these large lunges through the corners. And he's actually closed right back up on his teammate. And also Ludicrous Speed has not really fallen off of Yunvan all that much. We may have a battle for 3rd here very shortly, and Ferrari Boss ends up stepping off just a little bit once again. And then we look behind this little battle here. This is through 6th through 8th. Then these 3 drivers, they all kind of push out a little bit, and they close back together. Watching out from the back of Tactical Fallout's machine, it's roughly 2.5 seconds between him and Ferrari Boss. So there definitely seems to be a slight split between the top 5 and the bottom 5 drivers in the field. And it's Chevy, BMW for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Also, props to Foxy Gaming. He's put down almost a 2:03 flat. It's 2:03 and then 1/100th of a second is his fastest lap. So he seems to have everything really dialed in right now. It looks like Casubelli is actually dropping off just a bit as Jacob is closing back in on Tactical. Of the 2 Rebel Racing drivers running today, Tactical Fallout and Data Prime. Tactical is the highest running. And there we are. We saw Tactical bounce off the wall. Jacob made a much cleaner exit. And there it is. That's going to be the move for 6th position. But it looks like Tactical has a little bit more speed set up in that car at the end of the straightaway. He's actually going to be able to fight back. And they're going to go side by side here at the bottom of the hill. So you can see right there a little bit of difference when it comes to car setup. Jacob a lot faster on the initial acceleration, but the final third of the straightaway ended up changing, and we have another battle forming in front of these guys. Here we are, Ferrari Boss, Lucas Speed, and Jan Vaughn all seem to be on top of each other for the moment. And we saw the teammates fighting for 4th. And yes, right now we're riding on board. This also will kind of give you guys at home kind of a feel for what this track actually feels like and races like here. Oh, and Ferrari Bosch bangs off the wall just a bit. He's actually going to lose a little bit of touch with Lucas Speed and Jan Vaughn 3rd and 4th through that. He does it again. Going downhill now. Ooh, you can see he really likes to lunge his Ford GT straight in through the corners. And Lucas Speed bangs off the wall. He ends up knocking out one of the rear lights, actually. Keyshawn has a little bit of trouble putting the power down. And Raj, that car, you can feel it getting really twitchy coming onto that long back straightaway. And now you can see GTRC Jacob back there in the rear view mirror. And those Chevys, we know, have a lot more speed than the Ford GTs. If Jacob plays his cards right, he might actually be able to climb his way back to the 5th position. Jacob's approximately a second out from Raj at the moment. Foxy Gaming has now gone sub 203. He's at 202.674. When it comes to his lap times here, Chum has fallen to about 4 seconds off of our leader. That's kind of the reason why we're not really focusing on those two as much. There's not really a whole lot to follow. Looking back at Jan Vaughn, who again, he's able to get that Chevy GT to open a lead on the straights. It's through the corners, though, especially coming up and down the hill, that he seems to be losing time. And we see it looks like he's having a little bit of trouble applying traction initially coming out of a corner when you first get onto the gas. Here we are back at the top of the mountain. There's a small straightaway here. If Jan Vaughn has that machine set up for slight straightaway speed, he'll end up being able to pull away a little bit. It doesn't look like that's the case. In fact, Lucas Speed has caught right back up to him. But if Jan Vaughn makes a mistake, Lucas is going to have to react fast, and that runs the risk of him end up opening up a larger gap between the two of them. So Jan Vaughn, it could actually be in his favor to drive abnormally slow through the uphill or downhill sections in order to force Ludicrous Speed to have to choke up, have to stop from running into the back of Ludicrous. That is a very viable option, and then once you get onto the straightaways like we're at here, just use that to try and pull back ahead. Now meanwhile, a little farther back, here's the battle for 5th. We said this might happen. Chevy versus Ford, once again, the good old American battle. And it looks like Raj ends up cutting through the grass there, and now GTRC Jacob climbs his ass back into 5th. And he has another Ford GT and then a Chevy GT up ahead to focus on. Shum has fallen to about 4.8 seconds out of the lead by the looks of it. So for whatever reason, Shum's machine seems to drop off as the tires go on here. And once again, we look at ludicrous speed. He's a little closer to Yunvan this lap than he was prior. But Yunvan, he's a very good defensive driver. And not to mention, these two are very good friends, both on and off track. And they race each other in a lot of series together. It's kind of one of those things. And here we are. Ludicrous, he makes a lunge on the inside there. But Yunvan's able to slide that Chevy back in front of the Ford GT, bumper to bumper. This is very much a situation where both these drivers know all the moves that the others have. It's going to be a case of who coughs up first, who makes a mistake first. Following ludicrous speed here. Oh! Yunvan slows down. Ludicrous had to get on the brakes. The two of them almost crashed each other at the initial descent there. This is the closest ludicrous speed has been to Yunvan for a while. Pretty much since lap 2. And he's in Yunvan's draft, but that twin-turbo V6 does not produce nearly as much horsepower as, I believe it's a V8 that Keyshawn's running in that machine. But Ludicrous has not dropped off nearly as much as he had the prior laps. And then if you look behind, Jacob, he's about 1.1 seconds out from this battle, and Raj has actually started to drop off. So I'm wondering if, by chance, as the tires are giving up on that Ford GT or Raj's, there may be a bit of a difference when it comes to setup, and he's not liking the tires. Or we may see that because of that extremely aggressive diving maneuvers that he likes to take in the corners, where he just likes to throw it in there and then brake late, it might be burning off the tires for him. And here we are, we're on the straightaway, and Ludicrous actually pulls out. So Ludicrous seems to think he has enough straight line speed that he could seriously contend for third. He's going to do it. He got the inside line. He pushes Yunvan wide, and Ludicrous goes up into the podium spot, third. And now Keyshawn is the one who's following through these tight, twisty sections where Ludicrous has the advantage. And while they battle, Jacob has now closed even nearer than where they were before. Chum has now fallen 6 seconds off the leader, and then Ludicrous is another 11 seconds off of Chum. So Ludicrous Speed moves up into the third position, and now it's going to be interesting because we'll get to see possibly a battle between two Chevy GTs. This time we're going to be watching Jacob and Yunvan here. And then after this battle commences, we're going to go ahead and take a look at actually, we're going to go ahead and try to do it now. See if we can see what the tires are looking like. So as we can see, GTRC Jacob, as he's trying to make a move on Yunvan, Jacob's, his front tires at 37%, his rears are at 28%. As opposed, Yunvan, who's running right in front of him, 36 to 39 in the front, 27s in the rear. And drivers are now beginning to make pit stops. So Yunvan's staying out. Are we under yellow? So we have a caution by the looks of it, because our two leaders have slowed up and it's letting the entire field catch up. I'm not sure what brought out the yellow, but it looks like the Ford GTs have decided to pit. Here's Tactical File, he's 5th. He is not pitted. 6th place is Kazu Belly. He also has not pitted. 7th place is Ferrari Boss. So Raj here has pitted in the Ford GT camp, and it looks like he actually was able to overtake both Ludicrous Speed and Yunvan in the process. So here's Ludicrous Speed. He's pitted. Rockmaro. Oh, so Rockmaro is now going to move up to 9th. 10th is Dino Prime. Dino, he's the other member of the Rebel Racing team. He is teammates with Tactical Fallout, and obviously you can tell they're definitely on opposite strategies, but Dino was having a really bad time. He was losing about 2 to 3 seconds to the leaders almost every lap here. So 6th place has not pitted, but 7th place has. Now our leader's at 55% fuel. Our 2nd place driver is at 54%. 3rd is at 57. 4th is at 55. 5th, 55. Ferrari Boss gets spun. Not sure what happened there, but it looks like Ferrari Boss got spun there. And Dino Prime still seems to be struggling to try and catch up to the back of the field. So we're going to go ahead and kill the little telemetry because we're going to come down to a restart here. So this time, Chum, he's back right behind Foxy again. Now, once he was out in front, Foxy pretty much ran away, put on almost a full second on Chum every single lap. But now Chum's caught right back up. Things might be different here. And we have... Okay, so now we have a bunch of other drivers pitting. Oh, and we got to stack up Yunvan, Jace, and Chum both wreck on the restart here. And that's an immediate yellow flag. Chum and Yunvan both got caught up in an accident here on the restart, and it looks like it's going to be considered a no-go. Everyone's getting their positions back. For some reason, it looks like Chum got going a lot faster than Foxy did, and then everyone stacked up. And for the drivers who pitted, Dino Prime, I believe, pitted ludicrous speed. Raj. Let's see here. Did people pit? Because it looked like I saw a little sign up that's acted like people pitted. Let's see. Did someone pit during that? It doesn't, Kazu Belly pitted by the looks of it. Raj pitted. Really crispy pit. So it looks like everyone who was in the back of the field went ahead and pitted. Just to make sure that they're maxing out their tires. So I wonder if I wonder if those guys are just having an issue with their tires by chance, or they just don't want to push their tires too far, and that was the reason why. Prior to this race, there was some talk about alternate restart zones. I don't know if we're going to see that. I don't imagine we would, but there is a possibility. Okay, so coming around, we're going to restart here with 11 laps to go. Honestly, with the way everything's stacked out, it looks like the 4 fastest drivers are the 4 guys at the top. Now, you could argue that maybe Lucas Speed deserves to be there also. But Jacob, we saw him fall all the way back to about 7th, and he was able to make overtakes all the way back into about 5th position. I was honestly about to start challenging for 4th when the yellow came out. But the 4 GTs in the back is going to be very interesting because they're going to have to take advantage of that cornering speed and get up front fast. Okay, so now we are second restart attempt. We're going to follow Chum this time, see if he can not get wrecked and make an early move on Foxy. And he is. He's going to move right to the inside. Around the corner, Yunbon gets pushed wide. He gets into the dirt just a bit. And Jacob is faster than even Chum. In fact, now it's Jacob. It may be Jacob's time to try and go up against Foxy here. Chum is going to fall all the way back to 3rd, 4th actually, as Tactical Fallout now moves into the 3rd position. And Vaughn is going to go up against Chum here. Going uphill, 2 Chevy GTs chasing the Mercedes-Benz. And now Chum is fighting back. Chum leapfrogs past Tactical. Tactical banged off the wall, and he falls all the way back to 5th now. A little bit of tire smoke. Could not see who that was, but it looks like someone got sideways and hit the wall. Foxy Gaming has fallen to 2nd, and this means we have a new leader. GTRC Jacob has gone to the top spot. And now Foxy Gaming is running 2nd. Is he going to be able to get back by Jacob and retake the lead? Keyshawn sideways coming out of there onto the straightaway now. Foxy is actually dropping off from Jacob here as they're heading down the straightaway, but it looks like now that they're up to speed, the draft is going. Foxy is closing right back in. He's closing in fast, but not going to be fast enough to make a move. I don't think Jacob's going to go for a defensive line. Foxy's going to run wide, try to maximize exit momentum. Jacob closes the door on Foxy for the lead as they head down to the final corner here. Chum has now caught back up to Foxy. Foxy comes all the way down to the inside to defend against Chum. Tactical Fallout's there also. Yunbon is there. He wants to make a move on Tactical. Tactical seems to think he has the speed to go up against Chum here. Here comes Tactical. He's on the inside of Chum now. So it looks like the weakness of that all-wheel drive Lamborghini is starting to show. He does not have straight line speed as much as we thought he did. Tactical Fallout now moves up into the 3rd position. Does Tactical have what it takes to go up against Foxy? Jacob holding a steady gap between him and Foxy right now. And it looks like the two of them are now beginning to pull away from this battle from 3rd, 4th, and 5th between Tack, Chum, and Keyshawn. 2 Chevys sandwiching a Lamborghini. Not anymore! Wow! Tack make a slight slip up. I'm sorry, not Tack. Keyshawn made, no, it was Tack. Yeah, Tack made a slight slip up and ended up falling all the way back to 5th. And now Chum is going to capitalize on it. He's going to keep Yunbon. He's going to get by. Yeah, he's going to stay ahead of Yunbon there. On the straightaway now. Yunbon's right on Chum's ass. So this time it seems like the Chevy GTs don't have enough speed. And now there's Tactical. As we said earlier, Tactical seems to have trimmed that Chevy GT out for maximum speed at the end of the straightaways. But so we saw him close right up on Keyshawn, and when Keyshawn made a bit of a mistake there at the bottom of the hill, Tactical was in position to capitalize. But on the shorter straightaways, Yunbon seems to have a little bit more speed, and we see him going up back against Tactical here. Meanwhile, back up at the front, Mercedes-Benz versus Chevy Power once more. Foxy's looking to the inside. Neck and neck through turn 2. And Jacob, that machine slides out on him. Foxy's going to go into the lead. Very smooth pass. Is he going to be able to walk away from Jacob like we saw earlier? Jacob! He's going to make a dive to the inside. He made it work. He's actually able to slide back in front of Foxy before that changes from being the preferred lane to the least preferred line. So very, very smooth comeback from Jacob getting back into the lead there. And as they're fighting, Shum is actually starting to come back up. He's pulled away from that battle between Chevy GTs in 4th. Going downhill now. Oh, you can see that Mercedes-Benz, it's a little bit twitchy as they initially go down. It's not nearly as bad as we've seen some other drivers have, but you can see that machine sliding out just a bit. It looks like Keyshawn's put a little bit of a gap now between him and Tactical. In fact, Ludicrous Speed actually seemed to have caught up kind of with Tactical at the moment. He may have made a bit of a mistake in the downhill section. A little farther back in the field now. Riding on board with Dino Prime here back in the 9th position. He's following Ferrari Boss here. This is another case of Chevy versus Ford. Here we are, that Chevy Power is coming in handy. Meanwhile, back up to the front. And once again, it looks like we have had the same thing happen. This time, Foxy's going to shut the door on Jacob. He's not going to let Jacob make that dive bomb. Jacob's not able to fight right now. He has to hold off with Shum. So Jacob had the speed to get away from Foxy. But it seems like Foxy has just enough straight line speed with that thing. So I'm going to guess that most of Foxy's speed is coming through the straights. Jacob's speed is sort of very short line, kind of like Shum's. And both Shum and Jacob are actually bouncing off the walls a bit. Okay, so it looks like Foxy's opening up a gap once again on Jacob. Jacob's fallen to about 7/10 back. And Shum has significantly fallen off of Jacob, actually, after tapping the walls on Descent. Into the final corner. A little farther back in the field now. Whoa! Oh, Yunvan and Tactical still going at it. These Chevy GTs seem to be very, very well balanced between each other. Keyshawn sliding that. Both cars drifted. Lucas Speed in that slower 4GT wants to make it 3 wide. There's not enough room. He has to fall back in line behind these two. He honestly believes he's faster. Tactical is now going to slide his car back in front of Keyshawn. And Kazubelli in that BMW is actually closing in on this battle. And here we are. These shorter straightaways is where that GT, the Chevy GT, is better set up for Keyshawn. And now both of them are going to have the fire let under their ass in the form of Lucas Speed. If either of them make a mistake, that Ford GT is going to go right back in front of them. Assuming that he doesn't get caught up in it. Look at these four, all nose to bumper. Chevy, Ford, Beamer. All three drivers bounce off the outside wall there. And once again, short straight, Jan Von gets speed, but he's not going to try and make a move going through here. Tactical went to the wall! He went to the wall! And he's around! Tactical fallout, got into the wall, tapped, Lucas Speed, he's around! And Rockmorrow's gonna make a track flocking! Down Prime gonna get into it! Ferrari Bus gonna get into it! That's gonna be a caution as Tactical fallout, and that Chevy GT ends up spinning right in front. Lucas Speed barely got out of it, Cazabelli barely got out of it, but basically everyone else got caught up in it. That Chevy GT is way too twitchy, it seems, when it comes to running in traffic, and that's going to significantly hurt him. You saw it right here, folks. That machine, he got sideways, had nowhere to go, and then the Mercedes-Benz that was being driven by, I believe it was Rockmorrow, ended up having nowhere to go. No, it spun right into him. So we're under caution for the second time today. As a stack up going downhill, this is what we've been fearing would happen for most of the day. A lot of drivers saying that even if the practice they had didn't really reflect the conditions of the track today, several of them saying that the actual track was a lot slicker than initially practiced and anticipated for. Also saying that they had an issue with their vehicles getting aero loose going downhill. Well, not aero loose, but just loose in general. And when finally snapped, we saw it right there in the middle of a very tight pack. 4 drivers all caught up. Luckily, of those 4 drivers that are all on top of each other, Jan Von, Tactical Fallout, Ludicrous Speed, and Cazabelli, only one driver went out of the way. We did see Ludicrous Speed get a little bit of damage. So the drivers we know that were involved in that incident, Tactical Fallout, we saw Ludicrous Speed take a little bit of a hit right just in the door, but he was able to get away without incident. Then obviously we had Dino Prime, he got involved in it. Rockmorrow was involved in it. Ferrari Boss was involved in it, and that, like as we obviously said, Tactical. So looking at Foxy Gaming, we're at 19 laps out of 24. So when we go green, we'll have 5 laps to go. He has 33% fuel. It's more than likely he should be able to make it to the end on fuel, but I'm interested in the tires for the top 3. So looking at Foxy, his front tires are 56 to 59% worn. His rears are between 48 and 50. Then you look behind him, second place, this is Jacob. Now remember, Jacob, he fell back early on, and he's had to claw his way all the way up into second. His fronts are the same area, but his rears are a little bit better off than Shum, who's right in third. Again, this is an all-wheel drive machine, and it shows, you can see how much more Shum has burned through those front tires, 60 to 70% in the fronts. Because those tires are not only supposed to steer that car, power is also being fed through those front tires. So, I'm going to be honest, Shum, he'll probably make it to the end on fuel, but when it comes to tires, it's going to be a lot iffier. Typically, it's generally agreed that when it comes to Forza's race tires, once they hit about 85% or so, they become pretty close to undrivable. And Shum is about 15 to 19% away from that mark at the moment. And then also, we want to take a quick look at Keyshawn. He's at 60 in the front and 40-ish in the rear. So Keyshawn seems to have a lot better tire control. In fact, okay, it looked like Shum was about to pull off there for a second. All right, we're going to follow Jacob. Let's see if Jacob can do anything here with our race leader. Restart with 5 laps to go. Foxy goes way low. He's going to try and block as tightly as he can. Shum gets pushed out wide. Dino Prime, Ferrari Boss, both spin off the circuit farther back there. Both drivers are back underway now. we're still under green, but look, the back two drivers ended up in a crash with each other. And this time it looks like Foxy is starting to pull away easily from Jacob. Third place is still Chum. You saw Keyshawn, Yunvan basically, make a dive on him there for a third spot, but it looks like Chum was able to pull back. You can see those tires starting to smoke from Chum. He bangs off the outside wall there. Ludicrous Speed is going to go up against him now. Ludicrous Speed isn't just going to go up against him, he's going to take it. Yunvan went through the dirt, I'm guessing. He's fallen all the way back to 8th? 9th! He's fallen all the way back to 9th now. Going back to Chum. Ludicrous Speed has caught Chum now. I think those worn front tires are really starting to wear on him at the moment. For a little bit farther back, Kazubeli, he's caught Tactical. BMW versus Chevy once again. Does he have what it takes to be able to go aggressive against Tac? See that Chevy GT, the rear slide out just a tad. They're side by side now. Hang down to the final corner. Tactical's going to have that lane of choice, but if he takes it too close, he's going to hamper his exit speed. That's exactly what happens by the looks of it. And Tactical has enough speed fighting back, though, on the straights that Tactical's going to be able to hold on to 5th. And now Ferrari Boss has caught this little battle. No, Ferrari Boss goes wide, coming out of that final corner. Kazubeli and Tactical neck and neck again to the next straightaways. This is 3 straightaways in a row they've been side by side on. And Tactical's fighting back, but Kazubeli now move him up into the 5th position. Foxy not pulling away from Jacob or Chum quite as much as before. Chum is actually closing in on Jacob, but here's the thing. If Jacob has to start fighting with Chum again, it's very likely that Foxy will end up walking away with the victory here. Oh, and Chum bounces off the wall again. Looking at those front tires, his rears are about 50 to 55%, but those fronts are at about 77% wear. He's going to have to nurse those front tires through these final 3.5, well, more like 3 1/3 laps here. A little farther back of the field, looking back at Ferrari Boss. He's caught Tactical Fallout and Kazubeli, but again, that Ford GT does not have the same straight line speed as those two, and especially compared to Tactical, who's really trimmed that thing up for maximum speed at the end of the straightaway. I wonder if Tactical might have gone in and ripped out a whole lot of downforce on the front and rear of the car in order to maximize that straight line speed. Because he has way, way more speed than just about anyone else I've seen outside of maybe Foxy when it comes to the straights. But he gives up so much time in the corners and seems to be really, really twitchy. I mean, we saw that 5-car stack up end up being caused by him, so. And Yunvan is actually closing back up, so we have a little battle here forming between 5th and 8th, actually. Again, Ferrari Boss is going to drop off just a bit here because that Ford GT does not have the straight line speed. So we have 3 manufacturers represented here. We have BMW, Chevy, Ford, and then just a little bit further back, another Chevy. Now, Ferrari Boss is going to go up against Tactical Fallout on the outside here. Not going to work. Oh, and there we are. Ferrari Boss is going to look to the inside attack. He's going to pull out of it. He does not want to try and make a silly move. And Kazubeli hit the wall, and now Tactical's there. He's going to fight, and Raj is there. They're neck and neck for a 6th position. Both of them faster than the driver ahead of him. And it was Raj who ended up taking advantage of it, and now he's caught his teammate. I went too far. I was like, wait, where is everyone? So now Raj has caught ludicrous speed, but everyone behind these two Ford GTs are much, much faster in a straight line. Tactical Fallout's the fastest of them all in a straight line. He's back to fighting with Keyshawn. Yunvan, sorry, I need to start using their actual gamer tags. Kazu Belly up there, he's caught Ferrari Boss. At the same time, we have a massive battle forming, basically, between 4th and 8th. 2 Ford GTs, 2 Chevys, and a BMW all on top of each other. And Ferrari Boss ends up going wide. He's going to lose that spot to Kazu Belli. And now can that BMW get by the Ford GT on this straightaway? It's 2 laps to go. If you ever crash at this point, there are no cautions during the final 2 laps of the IESC GT Series race. So it's green from here on out. Going uphill now, ludicrous speed. He does not have the speed, pardon the pun, to hold off Kazu Belli, and now the BMW goes back into the Ford position. Ludicrous speed's going to lunge. He's hit Kazu Belli. Kazu Belli's got one way wide. Ferrari Boss gotta get by him now. So Kazu Belli goes from 4th to 6th with a little bit of a NASCAR-style bump and run. Here comes Tactical Fall. He's gonna dive to the inside. Kazu Belli. Kazu Belli gets pushed out wide. Yunvan and Tactical Fall. Now they both gotta get by him. Tactical Fall gets by him. Yunvan's gonna get by him. Kazu Belli goes from 4th to 8th in a span of about 3 corners there. A little farther up. Does Chum have the tires to make it through the rest of this race? Is he gonna be able to hold on? Those front tires, you can see them, they're at 80% wear. The right front is at 86.1% wear. Can he nurse that thing home to a 3rd place finish? Ludicrous speed, he's opened up a massive gap on the rest of the field. He'll be positioned to take that final podium spot if Chum ends up finding that tire issue to be too much. Yunvan, Tactical Fallout have caught each other here. And once again, Yunvan, he's going to have to play extremely aggressive if he wants to hold on to that 5th spot, because we know Tactical Fallout has a lot more speed at the end of the straightaway. Here it comes. Kazu Belli is right there. He's got a little bit more speed than Yunvan by the looks of it. Neck and neck for a 6th position. Tactical Fallout goes back into 5th place. You know, I said that normally this track isn't good for battling. 3 wide! 3 wide there for 5th position. And it's going to be Kazu Belli who's going to end up in front of them all. So the BMW is going to hold off to do Chevys for the moment. And we had a lead change. We had a change for a lead here on the next to last lap. No, it is on the last lap. They're fighting for a lead right now. Jacob and Foxy Gaming. This is going to be a battle for a lead, folks. Going down the straightaway. The front straightaway for the first straightaway for the final time. And now heading into turn number 2. Foxy Gaming is right behind GTRC Jacob. Jacob slides a little wide. Foxy, he's going to fight back on the outside. Neck and neck. Foxy's going to stick that front nose of his back and front. Jacob has the land choice. Foxy's got to undercut him side by side. And Foxy goes back in the lead ahead of GTRC Jacob. Chum is still trying to nurse the tire. That's got to be 90% worn away there in 3rd. And it looks like Foxy's going to get back in front of Jacob after he pulled the same move on Jacob that Jacob pulled on him about halfway through the event. Now as they head downhill, this is it, folks. Jacob, those tires are worn out. Their cars are at the last possible with the fuel load almost completely burned off. Chum is dropped out of contention for this unless both these drivers make a mistake. And Jacob hits the inside wall. He ends up hurting his momentum massively. Coming out to that back straightaway, that's going to probably give the lead to the win to Foxy. Chum has an outside chance at possibly fighting for a 2nd position here. But what are his tires like? 90% wear on the tires for Chum, but it looks like he's going to be able to nurse it back. He might be able to drag that thing to a 2nd place finish here. Oh, and the wreck! 2nd and 3rd place wreck. Chum and Jacob both wrecked in front of the entire field. The entire field's going to be coming up fast. Jacob punts Chum into the wall one more time afterwards. Here comes Lucas Speed. Lucas Speed has enough speed. He's going to get by Chum. He's going to come back up to Jacob here. Go through the final corner. It's not going to be enough, but Lucas Speed is going to come home 3rd here with Jacob coming home 2nd. Chum 4th, and now 5th. Here's the battle for 5th coming down here. Kazu Belly is going to take 5th. 6th place is going to be Yunvon. Yes, it's going to be Yunvon. As Tactical Fall is going to come home in the 7th position. 8th position is going to be Ferrari Boss. 9th place is going to be Rockmaro. And Dino Prime 77 is going to wrap up the field in 10th place. Holy God! My voice is just about gone. That was nuts. Oh, we're gonna go ahead and try to talk to as many drivers as we can, obviously. But that was absolutely amazing. Oh, holy crap, my voice is just about gone.
That was intense. Feel bad for Chum, but I mean, I was kind of pushed into the wall afterwards.
Well, his tires were just about dead, so he was at like 91% wear when that happened.
Yeah. Man, I almost had you,
okay.
Foxy. I almost had you.
Okay. Go ahead and include your audio. We're going to go ahead and talk to our podium finishers, at least here at the start. Absolutely amazing battling. I've said for a long time, you know, Bathurst isn't really great for driver versus driver action. It's more of a setup track, but I think these three all prove differently. First, we're going to go ahead and talk to our race winner, Foxy Gaming HD. First up, congratulations, and that was a hell of a race.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it was definitely tense since the cautions came out. Before then, I was just in my own rhythm and slowly edging out a lead over, I think it was Chum at the time. But when those cautions came out, I just couldn't get back in a rhythm and kept making mistakes, which kept letting Jacob having a go at me. So, yeah, it was good racing.
All right, so go ahead and just, through your eyes, take us through that final lap or so.
Oh, so the penultimate lap coming through the dipper, I got the line completely wrong and just bottomed out, which allowed Jacob to catch right back up to me, and I tried to cover off a cutback on the final corner, and he didn't go for that. He just went straight around the outside, so I had to fight back, and then coming through sort of turn 2 and 3. Both kind of made complete mess of the pair of those corners, and somehow I ended up coming out on top of that one. But the Merc's been great. So,
do you think you're going to? Excuse me, I'm sorry, my voice is going away. I was basically screaming nonstop for the last 2.5 laps. But do you think you're going to stick with the Mercedes for the rest of the series?
There's a couple kinks I think need ironing out with it, but yeah, I think I'm going to stick with this Merc for the rest of the series. It's certainly looking quite the package.
All right, well, you see it here, folks. Of all your rookie class for this series, it looks like we have one that's already making a name for himself. Foxy Gaming HD winning the first preseason race here at Bathurst. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
All right, also we want to go ahead and talk to our second place driver, GTRC Jacob. And while Foxy definitely had one kind of crazy race, Jacob, I was watching you through the entire event. You had a completely different kind of crazy race. You fell all the way back to about 8th after about 2 laps in, and you clawed your way back up and fought on track for every single position. Take us through your entire race. How did you do that?
Yeah, I just ended up in the back and slowly working my way up. I was fighting a lot with Tactical and I think I forget who it was, Rockmaro or something like that. Or actually no, it's Zeus, I like to call it. And then I was catching up to the next pack, which was Young Von, Ludacris, and Ferrari Boss. And as I was about ready to pass Young Von, caution called out. I was like, man, because I was just working through the pack. I mean, I was kind of glad about it because I probably wouldn't have gotten second, you know? But it all worked out in the end. The last lap going down the S downhill section. I hit the invisible wall, and that's what made Foxy keep on go ahead. And then I got pushed by Chum. I think it was either my fault or Chum's fault, or both of our faults, because I ran into the tire wall and was able to get back into it and get the second place.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna say you put on an amazing show with that Chevy GT. It looks like Chevy, although it wasn't a Chevy that won, considering that Chevy's made up the majority of on-track passes today. You might have made a good choice with car setup. Do you think you're gonna stick with the Chevy throughout the rest of the series?
Most definitely. Need to work on the tuning a little bit with the turning, but other than that, yeah, it's a good car.
All right. Well, there you are from our second place driver, GTRC Jacob. Now we want to talk to our final podium finisher, Ludicrous Speed. Now, Ludicrous, not to say you had a bad day or a bad car or anything, but the top three had basically checked out, so the fact that you're here on the podium is actually pretty unexpected. Go ahead and take us through your day.
Oh, it was, all over the place, going from third, fourth, last, fifth, second. It was weird. I really didn't know where I was going to finish today. Never really expected to win this track. Bathurst has never been a good track for me. As a matter of fact, it's like top three worst tracks I've ever really driven around as far as personal performance. Along with the fact that, of course, with NX1CS going on, it's getting ready to wrap up. I've been driving about a 3,500-pound NASCAR with close to no aero setup whatsoever, all mechanical grip for about 3.5 months. So getting into a Ford GT that can push 3 lateral Gs in the corners, it's a big change. Getting loose a lot, sliding around, of course, trying to get used to the new package setup that we got with the thinner tires compared to last season. It's definitely a bit of a challenge, but just got to keep pushing forward, keep working with it, wrap up NX1CS, and start putting our main focus down on IESC. Try and come back with 2 in a row series or championships.
All right. So, with your performance today, I know it's only one race, but do you think that there's still enough performance left in this car to go and get that extra championship?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's more or less just acclimating back to getting into the car in general. Like I said before, I've been driving a NASCAR for the past 3.5 to 6 months through NX1CS with preseason practice and racing. So getting into a car that weighs about 500 to 1,000 pounds less with a whole lot more aero on it, it's a little weird at first, but sure enough, we'll get there eventually. I mean, hell, last season started out pretty shaky with being in 7th place, and then we ended up winning the whole thing. So, to be honest, anything can happen. We don't want to walk in here saying, oh, we're going to win the whole thing outright, but we'll just play it by ear.
All right, well, there's your defending champion, Ludicrous Speed. Now, also, we're going to go ahead and talk to our 4th place driver, AMS Chum. And before you say anything, Chum, I was keeping an eye on your tires. If I remember correctly, you were driving the all-wheel drive Lamborghini. So just before that final accident, your front right tire was at 91% wear.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take us through the day, if you will.
I mean, I was kind of expecting to do a no stop, and then the cautions kind of led me to thinking that I could do that even more, but then at the 50s, for some reason the tire wear went up each lap. Maybe I could have been drifting or something, I don't know. But it just randomly started going up, and somehow I ended up at 91, and that was kind of unfortunate in the end, but I mean, probably could have pit earlier on, and then just ended up fine because of the cautions, but I mean, it worked out.
All right. So when it came to that final lap, almost final corner accident between you and Jacob, what happened there?
I mean, I was right there behind him. I saw us both take first corner wide. We had a horrible line going into the next corner, and we both wanted to take it flat out. From my perspective, I'm pretty sure I wasn't bumping him, but I could have been bumping him.
We were.
You were. Okay, apparently I was. But, apparently we went into the wall. I thought I quickly, and then front tires just didn't want to work, so they didn't. And that was the race.
All right. Well, going forward, do you think you're gonna stick with this Lamborghini for the rest of the series? Are you gonna try out other cars? What? Because I know that when you ran the 4 races you ran last season, you ran 3 different cars during that time. So, do you think you're gonna try experiment with other vehicles?
I'll probably stick with this one in the end, but well, you never know until the season starts.
All right. Well, you heard it right here, folks, from AMS Chum, your defending Le Mans winner in the series. So, also, we wanted to talk to Kazubeli, who was able to bring home the BMW M3 to an impressive 5th place finish. We were not able to get in contact with him, and I've had trouble getting invites to Yun Von also, which is really frustrating. I'm going to try one more time, see if I can get in contact with him, but it looks like he's already in a party with other people. I'm not actually going to bother. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to Tactical Fallout. He's still in the party, right? Yeah, Tac, can you? So, Tac, you came home in the 7th position. What do you have to say about your race in general? Do you believe that your Chevy ZR1 has the power and ability to take you through the entire series, or do you think you'll have to be swapping cars? Alright, well, you heard it here, folks. Also, Tac, just saying, like, you caused the biggest stack up of the day, just saying. Like, when you say, like, you need to work on the handling, like... Okay. No. Alright, but no. Good job, Tac. Best finish from Rebel Racing, so good job on your part in that team, trying to rebuild an entire GT program. Now, I also want to go ahead and talk to 8th place, Ferrari. So, Ferrari. So, first up, just want to get this straight. You are part of Team Turbo 6 now, or are you just trying out the Ford GT?
I'm a part of Team Turbo 6.
Alright, so go ahead and take us through the race from your perspective.
Oh shit, it was just absolute terrible. I did the worst performance out of like Team Turbo 6. And honestly, I fucked up the last corner, or the downhill corners, so on the lap 23, or else I would finish higher, but it was shit from my point of view.
Do you think you're going to stick with Ford GT going forward, or do you think you're going to have to do something different?
I'm gonna stick to the 4 GT.
So sorry. I forgot my sound was on.
Owen, send me that. Send me that.
Oh.
Owen, send me that.
So sorry.
Oh. Okay.
Owen, send me that.
Oh. Alright, well, that's a word from Ferrari Boss. And then lastly, we're gonna talk to Rock Morrow, who came home 9th in the other Mercedes-Benz. But Rock, representing the Raven West, coming home 9th. What was your race like overall?
Oh, it's a long story. We started off in the back and got pulled. Shut up. Got pulled off in the back stretch by Uiscudian, who later lagged out and got too aggressive in the end. Ended up costing myself a potential top 5 finish. Ended up in 9th.
Do you think you're gonna stick with the Mercedes-Benz going forward, or do you think
I
a
actually
different vehicle
do.
would better suit your abilities?
I'm absolutely in love with the car. I've been getting really comfortable with it, so I think it's definitely going to be something I'm sticking with for the rest of the season.
All right. Anything else in general you have to say about
Yeah,
your
Coke
race
is gay.
Oof. Well, you heard it here, folks. Apparently the head of the series is attracted to other men. So anyway, speaking of which, Coco Gamer, series host, just gonna ask your opinion. One race, one preseason race. Any thoughts in general?
I really do think it's a good race. I'll be honest with you. I was expecting worse for a track like Bathurst, and yeah, I was actually kind of surprised. Great job to all the racers that made this the way it is. It made it cleaner, and I really like the way the rest of the series sounds like it's going to be. Catalunya sounds like there's going to be a higher attendance than this week. So we're just waiting for Friday to come back around. So yeah, we had to give out a couple warnings. I'm not going to give out any penalties today. Like I gave a warning to Ludacris and Keyshawn, and those are the two people so far that only have warnings. That would mean that they would have gotten a penalty if it was regular season, but since it's preseason, most of everything is off the table. But just yeah, so sounds like it's going to be a pretty good preseason and hopefully a good regular season. I can't wait to move on to Catalunya.
All right, so one last thing, Coco. When is the next event at Catalunya? Time and date.
So we are planning to have the race at Friday, 7:35 p.m. Eastern. However, we do have the very slight possibility of it being moved to Sunday early afternoon. As in, for the States, it would be probably around 1 p.m. Eastern, so that it would be maybe 7 p.m. for people out in Europe. However, that may or may not happen, and we could even change that time as well. So for anyone that wants to watch it, just
so for right now,
for Friday at 7:35 p.m. Eastern.
All right. Well, you heard here, folks. That's everything from as many drivers as we could get interviews from and the series host. But until next time, I'm Insane Leader 13, and I'm pleased to have been here with you all. First preseason event for the IESC GT Series second season. Until next time, sayonara.